Hi guys, and a very warm welcome to episode 3 of Glory Week, where today I'm delighted to be joined by Darryl Lachman. Darryl, you're fresh from the training ground, getting ready for Saturday.
Yep.
How are the boys feeling? How are things looking?
I don't know about the other boys. Nah, we all fresh and ready to go again Saturday to hopefully win another game.
Fingers crossed, absolutely. Now, Darryl has confessed that he doesn't like these videos, which is the very reason that I actually got him on today. So we're going to see if we can bring him into the fold by having him on as a guest. Now, I know the bit you don't like, Daz, is the history bit. So we're going to get the history bit out the way early on.
Right.
This section is brought to you in conjunction with the city of Fremantle, and we are at Fremantle Oval today. Now, this place, well, it started off as a parade ground and a sort of band practice area for a volunteer military force in the 1860s. And then the first game of Aussie Rules football was played here in 1895, and it developed steadily then into the sporting venue that we know today. Now, Darryl, you'd enjoy this. They played a lot of cricket here for many, many years.
You have?
Yeah, they played a lot of cricket. I know the Netherlands have been decent at cricket recently, so I thought your ears might prick up.
Didn't I lose the other day?
Well, they did, but they've had a good World Cup. Don't distract me. Anyway, they also had motocross here at one time, but that didn't last too long because the noise of the bikes apparently upset the patients and staff at nearby Freo Hospital. So they had to put a lid on the motocross. But there was one very, very special visitor as well in 1954. Queen Elizabeth II, no less, God rest her soul. She visited Freo in the early 1950s, not to come and see the motocross. As far as we know that her and the Duke of Edinburgh were much more monster truck fans, but yeah, she did come to this particular venue, so we're following in quite illustrious footsteps today, Darryl. Anyway, that is enough of the history of Freo Oval. Let's come right up to date. As we said, mate, we've got a big game coming on Saturday. You're closing in on 80 A-League appearances now for the club in your fourth season. Now, just in terms of how did you come to Glory in the first place, mate? Because you were playing in Israel, weren't you? I remember.
Yeah, I was playing in Israel. I didn't have a club for months actually. At that point, I had stress back home because I was still 30, I think, when I left Israel, and then obviously the COVID on that moment just hit, and then I was back home and thinking like, oh, what's going to be next? Is there any club who want to sign me? And then obviously it stressed me out a lot. And then at one point I got contacted by Glory, and I didn't really have to think about it because it was an opportunity to go. I didn't know much about Australia. Obviously there have been some Dutch players going to Australia, but because of the time difference you don't really follow the league, or sometimes you see things on the news but it's all about sharks.
Yep.
So
True.
I was just like, I'm gonna go and see what's gonna happen. But Perth, I'm happy I made that decision because Perth is beautiful. It's nice.
Well, like you mentioned sharks there, I do remember our first phone conversation that we ever had when you were signing, and you did mention the bugs. You weren't a big fan of the spiders, as I remember.
Yeah.
Has that eased at all? Are you used to it now?
Because I've not seen a lot of spiders, so that's all right. Obviously, when you're back home, then you see the videos on Facebook or whatever, you see the spiders that massive hanging on the walls and whatever. And I was like, oh, hopefully I'm not getting across one of those spiders. And you also hear like 9 out of 10 animals are deadly in Australia. So you're getting, the fear just getting pumped in you straight off. But once you're here, you notice you're pretty safe around a lot of areas, and once you get to know Perth or whatever, Australia, you know where to go and not to go, and you know where the animals are being around.
So you've survived. Which is
I'm sitting right next to you.
You are. You're still alive. You're still going strong. Now, as you mentioned, originally from the Netherlands, can you just tell us a little bit about, was it Amsterdam that you grew up in? Can you tell us a little bit about your family background? Was it a sporting family and so on?
It wasn't really a sporting, well, my uncles were sporting families. One of my uncles, he played soccer himself. He used to play with Patrick Kluivert, if I have to believe him. He said he was good friend with Patrick Kluivert. He used to play with Clarence Seedorf at Davids, if I have to believe him once again.
Yeah.
But he is really massive into sport. But my mom, she just said, whatever makes you happy, I'll follow. I didn't really grow up with my dad, so I grew up with my mom and my sister. And basically I was just always outside playing football. And that was I didn't really think about going pro because I was just being a kid enjoying what I love to do. And then at one point it just hit me when I got an opportunity to play in the academy of Ajax. And from that moment on, I think I was 16. And from that moment on, I just thought like, I need to make this work because I wasn't good at school. So yeah, it was either, back home it's either school or football and you have to make it one way. Obviously they're gonna say right now like school is, I would still say school is important. But at that moment I shoved school aside and it was like full focus on football. And luckily I made it.
So you were quite late going into the academy
Yeah,
at 16?
I was really late. Well, I used to play in the academy of Haarlem. That doesn't exist anymore, but because I've been in amateurs for that long, I treated it like it was an amateur club. So when I didn't want to go to training, I just didn't call up. And I just didn't rock up. And then at one point they were like, where were you? And I was like, well, I didn't feel like training. And then they were like, you can't be doing that, we're a professional club. But I remember I was striker that back in the days and I was like the top scorer. And I got invited by Ajax at the same team where I just went out like 2 years later as well. So that was funny, but yeah, I was a latecomer.
Yeah, sounds it. Yeah, I mean that Ajax academy, you know, to be honest, Ajax had an academy before academies were a thing. You know, it's such a legendary kind of sporting institution. What was it like going in there? I suppose you would have been playing with kids that would probably have been in there for a few years already in a lot of cases. How was it going in as a 16-year-old, and what's it actually like being in an academy like that?
They're all egos, to be fair. At Ajax, they only think about themselves. Not in a bad way, obviously. They're all trying to make it to the first team. And yeah, once you get, or like when, obviously I was 16 at that point, that was new for me. So at one point you just like, well, we're Ajax, and they always say Ajax, we're the best. So at one point you're gonna behave like that as well. So it just gets pumped in your DNA as well. At that point when you go to the academy, it's like you have to show that you're the best. And I think on everyone, if you get on the bench or you get benched, you're gonna be disappointed. And you notice that in the youth as well, that nobody is really, if you took someone's spot, they'll be mad at you for like the week until they start playing again. And obviously when you get older, you notice it's all about the team sport, but then obviously in the academy, it's all about basically themselves and hoping they can make it to the first team, and then from there on, see where it goes.
So was it there? Did they turn you from a forward into a defender, or was that already?
No, I was always a defender,
right.
And then with the amateur club we had a tournament, and then the coach basically said, "Well, play whatever you want to play," and I was like, "I'm gonna play striker."
Of course he did.
Yeah. So every defender played in forward, and every forward played in defense or midfield, and I was just like, "I'm gonna play striker," and I got like the top score of that tournament. And that's when one of their players of Haarlem went to PSV, and they're searching for a new striker. And I got like top goal scorer in the tournament, and then they came to me, and yeah, then I played there for 1 year.
You still like to get forward in training sometimes and just show them?
No, in training I actually don't go forward anymore.
You do in games sometimes?
In games I go on a Macy every now and then.
Now Ivanovic, his cross is a good one. Oh, and it's been spilled, and it's in the back of the net.
What about heroes growing up, Daz? Which sort of players were you looking up to, or maybe even in other sports? What sort of people?
I didn't really look at other sports. I wasn't really into soccer either, or football, soccer, whatever. I wasn't really watching it or whatever, but I always got compared with Aaron Winter.
Yep.
And yeah, that was basically it. And I was like, one of my uncles said, well, you play like him. And from there on, I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't even know who it is.
Not a bad comparison.
I was young, and then actually later on, when I went to the Academy of Ajax, I met him. And then I said it to him, like, well, one of my uncles said I used to play like you. And then he said to me, well, we'll see about that. But nah, I met all I didn't really have a hero. I was just playing around, and then obviously the World Cup of, I think it was 98. Then you had when Holland played Brazil, and I was just looked up against every Brazil player at that time. But that was about it. I didn't really have a hero.
What about, because you ended up making nearly 200 appearances in the Dutch flight, the Eredivisie. Strikers that you came up against, who were some of the toughest that you had to pick yourself against?
There were couple good ones. Graciano Pelle, when he was at Feyenoord.
Yep.
He was a really good striker. I don't know if you know him, but Finn Bogerson.
Yep, I certainly know the name, yeah.
I think he went to Spain after. Well, a couple. Obviously, but almost every striker from Ajax at that time, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning of my career, and then later I think I even played against Wilfried Bony.
Okay, yeah.
He was just a massive rock. If you run into him, it's just you're hitting a brick wall. That's just a brick wall you're running into. And then later on, he used to play against Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. It's also from Percy. From Percy, he was smart. He was old, so you were thinking like, oh, he's not doing a lot, but his movement off the ball is one of the best strikers I played against.
Wow, well, some serious names there. Now, you did enjoy success with Pek Zwolle, and I apologise if I pronounced that incorrectly, but 2014, I suppose a personal one for you, you've managed to get to the Dutch Cup final, where you play against Ajax. Do you want to tell us what unfolded that day?
Well, I was actually injured before that. I was on the bench during that game. Yeah, I had a really good season until I got injured on my hamstring, so that was a bit unfortunate. But I was happy for the team that we got up to the final. And then from the final, I think they scored the 1-0, and then they threw flares on the pitch. And that was actually what helped us, because we could have calmed down, because normally when Ajax score quick, it's like just going up. And then they threw flares on the pitch, and it delayed the game for like maybe 45 minutes.
As long as that?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So we went back to the dressing room, and I used to play the whole season in that season, so I just calmed the boys down. It's like, this is a good thing for us. They're gonna be stressed. They just scored. They think like they already won it. It's for us now to bounce back. And then I think from that moment on, every chance we got was just a goal. And we won in the end 5-1. I think I came on 25 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. So I still played in the cup final and I won it, so yeah.
And just to put that into context, Ajax losing a cup final 5-1.
5-1.
That's not an everyday occurrence,
That's
is it? Let's
not,
be honest.
certainly not. I think one of our captains, they said we didn't play against. He made a really weird comment that he didn't say, I can't remember what it was, but he basically said that we beat Ajax like it was nothing. Well, it was a big thing back then, because Ajax used to be like champions.
Oh, huge, absolutely. Just switching to international matters, if we could. You're a Curacao international. Is that through your parents, or is it further back than that?
No, that's my dad is from Curacao.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom is from Suriname. So I could have made a choice to play for Suriname or Curacao, and obviously Holland, but I wasn't good enough. Just being honest, I wasn't good enough for that to go for the Dutch national team. And then at that point, you can get a choice to play for Curacao or Suriname. The reason why I chose for Curacao is because you didn't have to have two passports. And if you wanted to play for Suriname, you had to have like their passport as well. And for Curacao, the Dutch passport was enough. So Patrick Kluivert, he became like the head coach, and he called me and I was like, I want you in my squad. So I was like, he's like, you can play maybe 2 games for the Dutch national team, or you play like 60 or whatever and become a hero. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Quite a sales pitch, good sales pitch from
yeah.
Patrick. Yeah, absolutely. And you did have some success with Curacao as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We went. I can't remember what we were ranked in the world when I first came on, but it was pretty high. And at one point, I think we hit like 74. So that was pretty good for a small island like that. And we went to the Gold Cup. That's like a tournament in America where you can play against America, Mexico, and that's one of the bigger matches there. And so our first tournament we went there, we just lost every game, but it was good to be there.
Course,
and then
yeah.
our second tournament, we came up to the quarterfinal when we came up to the United States, and we just nearly lost 1-0.
So yeah, significant improvement.
Yeah, that was really.
And what's happening with Curacao now? I mean, are you planning to still play?
No, I called it off because there've been some games last season and even now beginning of the pre-season when they had like games.
Yeah.
But the flying is just too long for me. because the first times I went, when I think in my first season and my second season I went, but then it's like 21-hour flight back to Amsterdam and then another 9 hours to Curacao.
Right.
So that's too long, and obviously I'm at an age now where the recovery is going a little bit slow with my body, and then I just felt like just give the youth a chance there. And then I'm so far away,
it literally couldn't
impossible.
Be any further away,
nah,
could it?
It's just on the other side of the world.
Absolutely it is. So in terms of days off, mate, let's get an idea of what you get up to off the pitch. What does an ideal day off look like for yourself here in Perth?
My ideal day off is basically just chilling at home and playing PlayStation, watching Netflix, playing PlayStation. That's my day off. Yeah, like if it's really too warm, I can't walk in this heat. Like for me, it's like I'm already training in the heat. I'm getting a tan by that. I'm happy. I don't need to go to the beach. I'm just staying at home playing PlayStation. I'm a happy guy.
Absolutely, relaxing. What about your closest mates within the playing group? Who would you sort of spend most time with in the playing group?
I got a couple where I'm close with, where I'm good with. Obviously, I play Call of Duty with Beefs, Mui right now, Mitch Oxbrother, who used to play here. I don't really spend time with them off the pitch because I'm more of like a homebody, and they obviously, most of the guys got families and they got the kids, and I don't know what they're doing in their off time, so I don't want to bother them because I know they got families and obviously their life's a bit busier than mine. So yeah, off the pitch I don't really spend time with them much, but then online, when the headset goes on, I'm online with Beeves and me.
So, like I said, you mentioned Beeves there. In terms of your on-field partnership, how is it playing alongside him at the heart of the defence there?
Yeah, good. Obviously, he's really experienced. He reads the game really good. I think it's easy for me to play. He talks a lot. That helps me a lot, even though I'm one of the older guys as well. Obviously, when you talk to the mate next to you, it makes it only easier for yourself. And that's what helped me a lot, if he keeps on talking, and he's obviously one of the leaders in the team. So that helps. I think Beeves and me are complementary to each other. And I don't know, you should ask him what he thinks about me. But
we probably will. we will. We'll get Beeves on.
Yeah, he's a good centre-back.
Absolutely he is. Now, you've got a birthday coming up. Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday. Are we going to be able to celebrate that birthday with 3 points? How do you think the game against Western Sydney is going to go?
Well, I hope to end it with a win in whatever way it will. Obviously, you hope to play good football, but in the end, it's the point that matters. So even if you get an ugly win away there, because it's obviously hard to win at the Western Sydney game, and obviously the last couple of years, it's been hard to win away from home anyway. So I would say, like, even if you get away with a point, it's a win. But obviously you don't want to talk about what happened before, so you want to focus on this season, and then you want to win every game. Obviously you're not going to win every game, but starting now, I think if you get away there with 3 points, it's really good. It's going to be a hard game, obviously, but if we get 3 points, I'm going to be celebrating in the evening in Sydney.
Bit of a night out in Sydney, possibly?
Maybe not a night out, but some drinks after in the hotel, and then see who's going to join me.
And see how it goes. Well, early congratulations on the birthday.
Thank you.
Hope you do celebrate it.
34.
With 34, is that what you're turning? Still in your prime, Dad. Still in your prime.
It's the black don't crack thing, so I look younger, you know.
Yeah, this is absolutely right. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, mate. It's been a pleasure having a chat to you. Was it all right? Was it too?
No, this was perfect. It was good because I'm in it, you know.
This is it, right? So maybe be a little bit more complimentary about the clips from now on, or are you still going to hate them once you know?
No, I never said I hated it. I was just joking around, but you took it serious, and now I'm here.
And now you're on it. This is it.
Maybe I should do it more often, and then
definitely I'll get you to do
more chats.
I think it's going to be radio phone interviews next. I think that's what we need to get you doing. Yeah, let's get you on the radio.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, well, all the very best for the weekend. That game, of course, against Western Sydney Wanderers on Saturday. You can watch that on Paramount. Kick-off time here in the West is 2:30. And then make sure you do get along to Macedonia Park on Saturday night. A massive game for our Glory women against Adelaide United. They are looking for their 4th win on the bounce. The kick-off time for that one is 7 o'clock and tickets are available. It's going to be a fantastic night. Hopefully, just like last weekend, we will have 6 points from our 2 glory teams at the weekend. Thanks very much for joining us today. Thanks very much to Daryl, and thanks very much to the City of Fremantle as well for their support.